You are listening to Tami. Tami, who has brought her harp to our podcast today. I am so delighted to welcome you because this is number 201. Or is it 101? I'm right. You're right, Tami. It is 101 because we've just completed our first 100 podcasts, and we were talking about having some music to open up our second 100 podcasts. Each of these podcasts are with people who are working to make our world of peace, to bring peace and harmony into our lives and into our world. And so as I listened to Tami, I realized her harp is such an instrument of joy and such an instrument of harmony and such an instrument of peace. And so today I welcome you to Peace Podcast. And I am Barbara Gahn Mueller. And I am here because I believe that we learn from each other. And what better way to learn from Tami and our other 100 guests about peace? How come Tami, who is working to bring peace to you. I was on a meditation with her recently, and I did the checking of my heart rhythms. I have a little oximeter. I have such smooth heart rhythms when I'm at peace. And when I'm in this kind of a frantic, chaotic, doing it all, my heart sometimes doesn't stay in that same rhythm. But Tami brings us down to what peace feels like. So Tami, welcome today. I love beginning with the harp.
And thank you so much for having me. This is just a delight. I'm very excited to be present.
Well, Tami, your history with the harp is amazing because, Peace Podcast is for peace, mutually assured survival, and happiness. And the harp is what I call the happy instrument. It's like I go to a store, to Trader Joe's, and I say, I'm in my happy place. And I listen to your harp and I'm in my happy place. But how did that all happen? Let me introduce you. After receiving her International Harp Therapy Program certificate, Tami Briggs founded Musical Reflections, located in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1999. She has produced 15 CDs for relaxation, and she's even written 2 books. Her newest project is fulfilling her dream of using her harp for world peace by founding Healing Harps for global love, unity, peace, and planetary healing. Planetary healing is what we need right now as we begin number 101. Planetary healing. And today we're going to talk to Tami about how she got started, how Musical Reflections got started. And she co-founded in her history, she was a cross-cultural training company. And I've got to find out about that. But let's just welcome Tami. Tami, welcome to peacepodcast.org.
Thank you, Barbara. You're just a delight and a really newfound friend from the peace movement. And it's a joy to be with you. So, yeah. And
Right back at you.
Yeah. And I started with Ode to Joy because it is about joy. I know that song has very special meaning to you personally. And when I was on the speaking circuit, I would literally play that as one of my first 2 songs, and I would feel audiences just like come into their heart, and it's an ode to joy. So, yeah, anyway, it's wonderful.
And was that where you began playing your harp? How did you getting into playing your harp to bring us such peace and joy?
So I grew up playing piano, and I started when I turned 8 playing the piano. And my piano teacher was also a harpist. And she planted the seed when I was a little girl. And when I was going through turning 30, I was going through a really awful time in my life, honestly. And so I ended up giving myself harp lessons for my 30th birthday and fell in love with the instrument from the moment I ran my fingers up and down the strings. That's called the glissando, and I just thought that was the best sound and a wonderful feeling in my finger. And it was really a soul calling. And I guess I would like to encourage our listeners that if you have a nudging from spirit or an intuitive hit, that something you've always wanted to do, or something that really speaks to your heart, to follow that. And I think that's really important. And I did that when I turned 30, and now I've been playing for 33 years. So I just told you how old I am.
Well, those 33 years have made you a master. You are beyond a master. You are filled with hope. You're filled with joy. And I know you have a reason for playing this harp on Zoom. What does it do when we play your harp on Zoom? Does it help the peace movement? And you might talk a little bit about what you've noticed in people as they hear your music, how the peace starts to become part of their DNA.
Yeah, so before COVID, for the last 25 years, my work had really been about playing the harp at the hospital and hospice bedside. And so I didn't take this harp, I took a folk harp into the hospital setting, the healthcare setting. And the folk harp is a little bit smaller and certainly lighter weight. And then I also, did presentations all over the country about using music as a healing modality. And what I would see is, audiences would come in and be like, la, 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 chatty, chatty, chatty. And as soon as I started playing, they would just idle down. And very similar to what you just said about your heart rate, like if you take your pulse, if you pay attention to the depth of your breath, the music, the harp in particular, helps us idle down. And it's also a very vibrational instrument. And it's vibrational because all the strings are open. It's the only stringed instrument that the strings are not deadened or dampened. Like if you think about a violin or a cello or any of those instruments, you push the strings against a fret, and with the harp you don't do that. They're all open and the vibrations go out. So is Zoom as good as live? No, no, of course not. I mean, like when people gather in my living room and I'm playing this, big magnificent harp, they're going to get the frequency and the resonance a lot more. But I have seen over and over that it works its magic on Zoom. Absolutely.
And I've been a participant when the magic has been happening. And I used my oximeter and I would put my finger in there and I would just see this harmony with my body, harmony with my heart, and a very steady rhythm. You have maybe a new medical find here that if you're ill, listen to my heart, because your body can heal itself if you're in harmony with the environment in the world. And I am beyond joyful when I am on any of your meditations. You meditated for the Georgia election. You meditated for peace on our planet. You've meditated for things that are unpredictable. What got you into wanting to meditate for peace? How did that all happen?
So it actually started with US presidential elections, and and this was probably 20 years ago, and we recognized, and I say we, meaning my circle of friends in Minneapolis, which is where I live, that a lot of times, our elections may not be like people can't vote as frequently or as regularly as they want, and we just needed some peace around those. And that's how they started. And then in 2020, when COVID was here, we're like, well, are we going to not come into my living room? And so what I ended up doing is opening them up on Zoom. And we had probably close to 100 people that, on that 2020 election. And so now it's half Zoom, half people in my living room, and it's delightful. And then the other thing, when COVID started, a friend of mine just wrote a book about the environment and how we need to take care of Mother Earth. And so we started doing peace meditations for Mother Earth. And then Rotary International's eClub of World Peace was open to doing a monthly peace meditation. So they host the first Monday of every month. And so they've just kind of morphed. And I love that because I think that's spirit at work, if you will. And it's a great way to connect in community and really be about like-minded souls and our connection.
Well, you've been a blessing to Rotary eClub of World Peace, and you've been a blessing for the meditations that I've been on. It's amazing how your music, because you're very pure when you play, you're very intentional when you play. And I can just feel your intention for peace as you play. So that intention is a vibration from your harp to you to me, and from you to the harp to me. And that intention is magnified by the music that you play. You pick very beautiful tunes at that time, and you pick them according to what you think we need.
Yeah, I have no agenda. I never know what is going to present itself when we do peace meditations. And if you're okay with it, Barbara, I would like to share a story about how I believe music helps us vibrationally across the airwaves. Um, and what you're talking about with the peace meditation is that's part of what happens, when we're in community on Zoom and we're all these little squares on the screen. So right after right after COVID happened, about 3 or 4 months later, the George Floyd situation happened. And if you remember, it happened here in Minneapolis. It was about 10 miles from my home. And it was a very scary time where our whole city was on fire. It was vandalized. And so, what I ended up doing to soothe my own heart was come to my heart, come to my harp. It's a play on words, harp and heart. And as I came to the harp, what I realized is as I calmed down and as I got peaceful, that's what I radiated out. And it was such an important lesson around when I feel inner peace and the music is about that inner peace, that's what gets pushed out. And I was also getting lots of phone calls from friends in the area, but also, around the world, because it went viral, as you remember. And what I heard myself say to my friends was, I'll play for you. And it was really a play on words around I'll pray for you. So my music became a part of the ministry to help promote peace. And the other thing that happened out of that was I felt very guided to incorporate this into a daily practice. And the message that came was do this for 365 consecutive days and keep bringing peace to yourself and pushing it out into the world. And I did that. And I also took notes. So one of my projects in the new year is to create that into a book. And I think there's hopefully a lot of gold nuggets in there that will be helpful for harpists, but also anybody that's interested in the creative practice of doing something for 365 days.
That is absolutely beautiful. And that you honored your intuitive knowing. That is a gift. We each have that intuitive knowing, and you just know when you're supposed to do something. And that seems to be what happened for you to make that decision to meditate. What day are you on now? Are you on past 365?
Oh, I'm long past 365 because it really started when George Floyd
Oh,
was
yes.
murdered, and that was May 25th of 2020. So it went through May 25th of 2021, and but I still play almost every day. And Barbara, if you would like, I would love to share the song that I played over and over and over after the
I was
joyful.
going to ask you, could you share that with us so that we will have it for the eternity on Zoom and also on YouTube so people can go there when they need that healing to listen to your music? Please, I'm so honored that you will do that.
Yeah. So this song is called Infusion of Love. And it felt like when I came to my harp, it was sitting on my music stand. I had never played this before because it was one of the songs that I found when I was cleaning house. Remember, after COVID started, we all started like massively cleaning our houses. And I found this song and I loved the name, and I would play it. I would take a breath, connect to my heart, and I would feel drawn to play it again. And then I would connect to my heart, and I played this song hundreds of times after May 25th of 2020. So anyway, I'll share it. It's called Infusion of Love.
It's so beautiful. Do you have it on any of your CDs? Have you recorded this one on a CD yet? Well, today I want people to bring a friend and listen to this fusion of love that you just played. And when you listen to this fusion of love, do what I did. I just closed my eyes and I was one with her harp and the music. And I could just feel the peace from the top of my head down to my toes. And your music is magic. I think it could be a healing sound for people who may be stressed and sick. Stress is really a cause of sickness, so to be peaceful. So what I'm going to suggest to our viewers, why don't you listen to Tami every day and listen to that beautiful fusion of love, because that's what the world needs right now. And so this will be on YouTube. It'll be on peacepodcast.org later this afternoon. And it will be on Spotify. Don't play it in your car because I don't want you to fall asleep while you're in the car driving.
Yeah,
But play it.
some of my CDs have warnings: do not drive or operate heavy equipment.
I can understand why, because you're right there and you're lost that right brain and you're in the brain of joy and happiness. And whoops, there's the stop sign. It went right through it. I've done that before and carried my bumper home, because you have to be very aware when you're driving, even if the sign says only this is a three-way stop. Well, I didn't know that. I just went right on through. So pay attention. This is why I wanted Tami on today. She's very, very heartfelt. She believes that love can change our planet. Am I correct about that?
Absolutely. And I was thinking about how I got connected to the peace movement, and you in particular, with many of our other dear friends. And I lived in Switzerland and I lived in Japan. And specifically, when I came back from Switzerland, Switzerland was my first international experience. And I remember sitting at my parents' table, and we were talking about the experience and processing what had happened. And I said, and I think I was either 21 or 22. I said to my parents, I want to work for world peace. And my dad said, well, then you need to join the military or you need to go get a job. Well, I went and got a job. I did not join the military. And I always had that kernel in the back of my mind, kind of in the back of my mind, that I wanted to work for world peace. And, life happens. I was busy. I was doing all these different things. And then when COVID hit, my whole business literally went away. And so it was a time of discernment and really trying to decide, what I wanted to do next. And by the grace of the peace movement, they literally came into my living room and said, can you help us? Can you do this? We would love to have you. And it's just been a love fest all the way around. And Pathways to Peace, Rotary International's eClub of World Peace, We the World, Good of the Whole. I mean, there's just lots and lots of organizations and lots of people that are doing magnificent work. And what a joy, what a joy to plug in.
But you paid attention. Sometimes a little knock is very silent, very quiet, but you paid attention and you remembered your early dream, telling your dad you wanted to work for world peace. And I told my grandfather after he said, and when I was 3, that I was going to work for peace. And I said, but Grandpa, I don't even know how to work for peace. And he said, you figure it out. You figure it out. And I have spent my whole life working for peace, and working for peace, not out of sweat and labor, but just out of intention, the intention of peace, knowing that wherever I am, I can be the peace somebody else may need, or I can be the peace for myself. And I must tell you, Tami, your harp does strengthen my peace motion. It does strengthen the joy of peace inside me. And I do realize that there might be something coming up in your future that we could invite our listeners to. Do you have something that's coming up nearby, close by, that we could enjoy your harp again? And then be sure and give us your website.
Yeah. So the next event will be Rotary International's eClub of World Peace's meditation, our peace meditation. So the event will be hosted by Rotary Club's Rotary International eClub of World Peace, but you don't have to be a member of Rotary to be on it. And the next one is January 9th. Normally it's on the first Monday of every month, so you can mark your calendar for that, except on January 2nd is a federal holiday here in the United States, so we're going to do it on the 9th instead. And you mentioned my website. My website is musicalreflections.com, and my email is tami@musicalreflections.com. And so you'll have to send me an email to get the Zoom link for the peace meditation, but we would welcome you. And they're very powerful. And as you mentioned earlier, we a lot of times have a theme that we work with. And I believe that we're going to change the planet one meditator at a time.
One meditation at a time, from your mouth to God's ears. Why not? And I think it's possible from what I have experienced. Tami, you're just such a light. And as I look at you, I think, my goodness, you reflect the harmony that Harp brings to us. And your peace is, peace, sometimes people say, oh, I can't be peaceful, I'm too busy. That's when you do need to be peaceful. Peace is possible. As you can see from my background, I'm chair of the Rotary Action Group Action group for peace. Think about what that means. What are our actions for peace? You never know when you're going to be somewhere where somebody needs your peace. Sometimes it's at the ATM machine and there's somebody standing there saying, hurry up to get up. And I just have a conversation. I say, thank you for being here, waiting so patiently, and may peace be with you. They just about fall over that I say, may peace be with you. That's a simple greeting rather than goodbye. You know, I'm trying to end my phone calls with may peace be with you. There's so many simple things to bring peace in your life. Recently, I was talking with one of my other podcasts, and we're celebrating 100 podcasts, everyone. Thanks to you, viewers. Thank to you for being here, because peace is possible and it works when we believe it. And it helps us to bring that internal peace into the world. They need it now more than ever. And so as I look at Tami, I say, Tami, thank you so much. We will put your website up on our Peace podcast, and it will say right underneath. And you can listen to her on Spotify, but don't do it in your car. As we said, let's keep that for a time when you can meditate and be with us on the peace. Now, she mentioned the Rotary eClub of World Peace. We are dedicated to peace. The Rotary eClub of World Peace, which was founded after the 2016 World Peace Conference started by Rudy Westervelt, the co-founder of the Rotary eClub of World Peace. World peace is possible, but it begins with each of us. It begins with the dedication of knowing it's possible and being the peace maybe somebody else needs. I'm Barbara Gaughan-Mueller, and I thank you for joining us on peacepodcast.org. Our magazine is coming out, and if you didn't get one, I'm going to just send me an email, Barbara Mueller at peacepodcast.org, and I'll be sure you get one electronically so that you can enjoy the beauty of these 100 podcasts. We're having a champagne celebration on New Year's Eve to celebrate 100 peacemakers giving me 15, 20 minutes of their life. Tami, why don't we finish with a song from you and just thank you for bringing so much harmony with your music and your harp. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Barbara. And again, what a joy and an honor to be with you. 101, here we are.
101.
And the song that I'd like to finish with is a beautiful song called Peace Blessing. And this song is typically what we finish our peace meditations also. And I believe this song really shares the wonderful resonance and frequency and vibration of this beautiful instrument. So, Peace Blessing. And as I play this, I would invite you, the listeners, to sit comfortably and let the music touch you wherever you need to be touched.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you're listening to Tami, I want to remind you that you're listening to peacepodcast.org. And may peace be with you in this 2023. This is a year when I wanted to make sure we had peace on our planet. And that's why I invited Tami to be 101, to really allow us to hear her music and to bring a friend in and to listen to this recording several times, because the vocation that she has chosen, which is peace. I wanted all of us to have that same attitude about peace. It begins with me and often starts with the conversation. And in Tami's place, it starts with the harp and the music. Thank you, Tami. It's been an absolute blessing to have you. Thank you. And I'm Barbara Gon-Mueller, reminding you to invite a friend, listen to Tami together, and have a conversation. Be the peace other people need. And I'll see you next week on peacepodcast.org.